So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Should you buy the Samsung Galaxy S8 in March 2018? We're talking about the small Galaxy S8 here now, not the Plus model. This phone has dropped down to $599. Now, the Samsung Galaxy S9, the smaller edition, is going to run you $719.99 USD. It's actually more in some regions. So this has actually got quite a price discount. And if you find it like this right here, it's $524. You could even find it refurbished for cheaper. You could find it third party for about $500, maybe even in the $4s if you look for it used. So you're getting quite a discount here if you buy the smaller Samsung Galaxy S8. Now, key specs refresh, Snapdragon 835, this has 4 GB of RAM, 12 megapixel 4K camera, fingerprint sensor up at the top. On the front, you have a 5.8-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display, and on the front, you have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera it has like facial recognition as well as iris scanning. So that's basically what you need to know. Now, let's get into the design really quickly here. So in terms of the design, you know that the Samsung Galaxy S9 didn't change that much, but where it did change is it got a little bit shorter than the Samsung Galaxy S8, but it's also a little bit wider. So this one might be a little bit more comfortable to hold in the hand this way, but from top to bottom, it's going to be a little shorter on the S9. So it's still pretty equal. I mean, they trade things. You trade a little bit wider for a little bit shorter, so you can choose what you like there. So this is still going to be very comfortable in the hand when it comes to design. Now, this phone, unlike the S7 Edge that I used before, did have a little bit of problems with the touch response on the side of the screen. I had some issues with the S7 Edge, but here on the S8, no issues to speak of there. And I also found myself using the Edge panel quite a bit on Samsung's Galaxy S8. So no problem here with that. But I do think this phone had a little bit of lag that I didn't like when using it. Sometimes it was a little bit twitchy. So this is definitely not the fastest Samsung phone you can buy, but it offers a whole lot for not a lot of money here in March 2018. Now, in terms of the build, the build quality of it, the back can scratch quite easily, and you can get little nicks up here in the top metal frame. On the front as well, you can get some nicks up there quite easily, and it'll scratch a little bit here around the charging port. But other than that, it feels like $1,000 in your hand, and not too much different than the iPhone 10, to be honest. It's just a little bit lighter than that phone, but other than that, it feels identical to that phone. It's actually a little bit more curvy, in my opinion, than the iPhone 10. So yeah, it's a really nice design, and you're not going to be getting nothing that looks outdated at all if you buy an S8 here in March. So in terms of design, it's a definite go for me. And the build quality with IP68 water and dust resistance, that's actually better than the latest Apple phones when it comes to its water and dust resistance. This thing can take a dunk in the pool and it's probably going to be okay. So this one's really good when it comes to being safe in wet conditions. So keep that in mind in terms of the build quality on this phone. It's really good in that regard as well. Now let's get on to that display. This is a Quad HD. Unfortunately, when you buy a Samsung Galaxy S8, it's not going to come with Quad HD out the box, but if you go to display and you go down here to your screen modes, you can put on adaptive display, AMOLED Cinema. You can also change it here in the screen resolution to the Quad HD. So it'll come with HD out of the box. They did that because they want to save battery life. But go into the Quad HD to get the full, enjoyment out of this display. But other than that, very contrasty, very saturated. It could be a touch oversaturated for some people's likings, but it's super sharp, and you cannot really, argue with the fact that this has got to be one of the best displays you've ever seen on a smartphone here in the Samsung Galaxy S8. So here in 2018 of March, it's not like it's lagging behind or anything like that. What, they made the S9 a little bit brighter than this phone? Okay, whoop-de-doo. This one is really bright as well. They made the S9 not any sharper, so it's the same resolution. It's gonna be about the same exact display. Here's one thing I don't really like about the S8 though, and that's the software. Now, I know Android Oreo is out for this device, but I still haven't got it for my device. You can see, let me check manually for an update. You're gonna see there's no update to Android Oreo on this device. You're on the latest version, and the latest version is actually the version that this phone launched with. So, whole year later, we still have Android 7 on here, which is very annoying considering that this was really a leap forward for Samsung in terms of design, and this is one of their best-selling Samsung phones ever. So, it's kind of annoying to see that they went a whole year without updating this device, but same old Sammy when it comes to that stuff. So that software, however, has been pretty stable, in terms of, applications not crashing and stuff like that. But what I find a lot on this TouchWiz, user interface, is you get some little glitches and lags. They fixed the initial lag when the phone first launched, like the TouchWiz lag, it got a little bit better in a few performance and stability updates, but it's still not the fastest. It still just looks a little bit slow to my eyes, especially when you compare it to something like a Pixel 2, for example. Again, though, this phone's going to be way less money to buy than a Pixel 2. So overall, in March 2018, in terms of software, it's going to be a pretty decent experience. It's just not going to be top notch. I mean, in terms of the feature set, yes, it'll be a top notch experience there. You get Samsung Pay, you get all of this, but in terms of just that really solid, rock solid, reliable software that doesn't twitch, doesn't lag, doesn't do any of that, this phone's not going to give you that, but it will give you really good software that can be tweaked. Like you could put Nova Launcher on here and stuff like that, and then the phone starts to feel, you know, great again. Or you could put Action Launcher, stuff like that will really transform your Samsung Galaxy S8. But in terms of the feature set, it's loaded with features, so that really can kind of make up for the little bit of twitch you'll get from time to time. Like if we go into settings here, you could just still be learning about features the whole time you use this phone if you don't really dig into it day one. Now, in terms of performance, not bad on basic stuff. But when you start throwing a lot at this phone, it will start to reload applications. So performance, I think with a Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM, it has top-notch specs, but it can be twitchy from time to time. Doesn't mean it's a slow phone, it just can be twitchy from time to time. So what about that battery life? So, you know, over time, this phone actually gets better as it kind of, you know, you start using it more. It gets better. But when you first get this phone, it might not do that well when it comes to draining the battery. I find myself to get about 4 to 5 hours of screen on time with this device if I am, you know, conservative. I'm keeping the brightness at a decent level. You know, I'm not doing too much on it. I could get through the day quite easily with the Samsung Galaxy S8. And you have these modes to extend you further. But if you're a heavy user, forget about it. The S8 is going to drain faster than you could blink an eye. And this ain't going to be the phone for those power users that just need that all-day longevity. This phone I don't find to be that one, but it is saved by one saving grace, and that is the fast charging ability. So it charges extremely fast. So if you do have a problem with battery, at least you can charge this thing extremely quick and you'll be right back juiced up to go for the rest of the day on the S8. So let's talk about camera here. Now, I don't like how they moved the camera over here to the volume or the power button to go ahead and open it, but at least you still have that quick launch ability. And this camera doesn't take pictures quite as fast as some other phones that I've seen, but has dual pixel AF. It's basically the same camera that was on the Galaxy S7, but you know, it has a little bit brighter photos and a little bit better detail. So overall, it's a stunning camera when it comes to detail. Not going to be that much different from, again, the Galaxy S9, other than the fact that you're going to get a little bit brighter photos. But I mean, how much more could you want for your basic photos? That's incredibly sharp there for being, you know, a phone that's almost a year old now. And I mean, it's crazy how fast technology is moving and these phones are remaining good. And there's reports that the Samsung Galaxy S9 is down 50% over the S8, but that's just a rumor. We're gonna have to see when they do the quarterly earnings calls to see what happens with the sales numbers on the S9. But overall, that camera's pretty good. The front, again, like I've mentioned with prior Samsungs, it can be a little bit soft in my opinion, but maybe you don't want those really detailed pictures where you see all of your pores and stuff like that. You know, in good lighting here, you can see it does hold pretty good detail, but just a little bit soft. Just a little bit soft there on the front, but it does have some fun sticker packs and stuff like that. So camera on the whole, definitely a win for the Galaxy S8. It's great hardware when it comes to that. However, you are missing out on some video modes like 4K 60 and that super slow-mo, but how many times are you really going to use that in your day-to-day? Probably not often. Speaking of audio, should you buy it in March for audio? Now, headphone jack was always great to have here on the Galaxy S8. It works well. You have equalizer settings that can make your music sound even better. But this speaker right here is easy to cover up with a finger. We all know it's not the greatest. So we're not going to talk much more about the audio. You can call this one weak when it comes to the speaker, but strong when it comes to the headphone jack. So it's really up to you whether you like a headphone jack or not. If you don't like a headphone jack, you might not like this phone because the external speaker is pretty weak. Phone call quality has been stellar. I don't want to go on too long about this. If you're buying this, you don't have to worry anything about, you know, reception issues or anything like that. Never had that issue with any of the later Samsung models that I have used. The last time I had reception issues when I was using the Samsung Galaxy S4 in 5 days. I haven't had reception issues since then, so it's really good when it comes to the phone call. So that's it. Should you buy the Samsung Galaxy S8 here in March 2018? With the price discount, I think, yeah, you should, because you're getting like a $300 discount over the current model S9, and it's not going to be that much different. You could buy this phone literally right now, used on SwapUp for in the 400 range. So should you buy this in March 2018? Well, it's kind of tricky because this phone is in the price of the OnePlus 5T, but if you're looking for Samsung and you want something that's not going to be, $800, $900 phone, but you still want something current, you should definitely buy the Samsung Galaxy S8. You can also look for like at used places like eBay and SwapUp to get even a better deal. But I think overall, it's still a phone that could go at least a couple more years before it's gonna be time for another update. But for now, definitely could still recommend this smaller version of the Galaxy S8 in March 2018. Do you have a Galaxy S8? Let the community know how it's been treating you down below in the comment section of this video. Have you enjoyed it? Have you hated it? Let us know. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Stay tuned for the S9 content. It's coming next week. I promise you. I'll catch you all in the next one. Be sure to be well. Nick here, and peace.